you can tell that it's... Hello.
So I just want to talk about photography and in particular photo editing, because I don't know about you, but when it comes to photo editing, I'm always looking for the right way for a photo to be finished. I want that photo to look correct once I've finished editing it. When in fact, the truth is there is no right or wrong way for a photo to look once it's finished. You could have the same raw file and edit that photo millions of different ways and get something completely different every single time you edit it. And that's something that I wanted to take a look at in this video and try and prove. So what I've done is got together a few of my photography friends, sent them the same raw file from the same camera, the same shot, the exact same shot, and said, treat that photo as if it is your own. Go and do whatever you want with it, edit it however you like, and then we'll bring them all back together at the end of this video and see just how different all of these results are from that same original file. So I have edited the photo. Holly, my girlfriend, has edited the photo. Sam Holland, who has an amazing YouTube channel you might be familiar with, has edited the photo. And Danny Bligh, who also has an incredible YouTube channel you might be aware of, has also edited the photo. I will link all of their channels and Instagrams down below so you can go and check them out. And yeah, this video shows the process of them editing that same original file. Here's my version just before we get into it. There's the raw file and the edit. And now we're going to see them editing this same file. We'll come back at the end and see just how different they are.
I just want to start by saying that I'm not a photographer. So when it comes to editing photos, I like to take the quickest and shortest route possible. That means that I don't overthink things. I just do it. I just do it really quick. When it comes to grading video footage, I'm the complete opposite.
First one, the gull. Let's go smack bang in middle, like that. Let's get rid of distractions. So all these little stone things knocking about. Don't want them. Let's tidy that up.
So Holly didn't really like the idea of being on camera on her own. She has already edited the photo and we're just going to talk through it very quickly now as to why she's chosen to edit it in this particular way. Are you screen recording?
No.
Oh my God. I need to press record screen, otherwise it's going to be completely useless. This doesn't look like a raw image. It looks really nice as it is. But what I might do is just mess about with the contrast a little bit and try and pull out the detail of what the focus should be in this picture.
Get rid of this person up here because we don't want that. Happy. Right, okay, so now we're at that stage. This is when I would start actually editing the photo. Just basic adjustments. So let's start with exposure, brighten that up a bit, bring down them highlights, try and retain the detail, decrease that saturation slightly, and then it's time to get on to the tone curves. Let's add a little bit of fade.
So I massively cheated, I'm not going to lie.
That's fine.
I went for a preset initially and I quite like the futuristic one.
So were you just looking for a preset to be a good starting point?
Yeah, feel right. So I went for 9.
Right.
Because it took away most of the reds and oranges that I don't really like. And then from there, I just started to tweak.
Here's a thing to think about. If I put the bird directly in those boxes, then the legs aren't in the center. So see what happens, look, it doesn't look right. So I'm going to move it so that the legs are in the middle, and then voila, it makes it look like the bird's central. Weird thing that happens.
When it comes to sharpening, I don't really ever touch any of this amount radius detail. Hold down the Alt or Option button and then drag up the masking until I'm just literally sharpening what I want on the photo.
So you not actually made that many tweaks to the exposure with the light
in this
section?
sort of area? No, not really. It's mostly sort of like the point curve and just like desaturating the blues and getting rid of the oranges and the reds.
Yeah.
I got rid of all the distractions, all of these bits,
Yeah.
like all the stones and the people in the background.
Did you do that in Lightroom or in Photoshop?
In Lightroom. I don't know how to work Photoshop, I'll be honest.
A lot of people say that.
So I just stick with Lightroom unless I absolutely have to use Photoshop, but that's very rare.
I'd make sure that my exposure was right, but the exposure looks spot on in my opinion here. I might just give it a little bit more mood by either creating a contrast curve or bringing the shadows down a little bit. Ooh, that looks nice.
Pretty much when it comes to this, when I'm literally editing from scratch, I go through every colour one by one and just see what it's doing. But pretty much I want to go for like, not a teal and orange look, but it is a teal and orange look without it looking a bit weird. You know, like I don't like the cliche teal and orange. If you want to teal and orange, like you just come down to the calibration and just go boom, boom, teal and orange. But that looks disgusting. That's like so 2010 Instagram.
Clarity. I like this in moderation. That's bringing more detail out in the shot, but it's also, you have to be careful because it does create more contrast as well, look.
I just played around with point curve because I like my blacks to be a bit flat. Tweak the saturation and the vibrance. Put mask on the bird.
Yep. What for?
Just to highlight the bird a bit more. I didn't like it being too bright, and then mess with the texture, brought the texture up and the clarity just so it was a bit more bold.
But we need to get rid of that colour cast on the bird. You can see it's a little bit orange. So what we're going to do with that is we're going to come into the masks. So let's just grab the subject, have a play, pull out the saturation. So all that instantly like gets rid of that orangeness. And there's a little bit down here as well, which we could probably do with getting rid of because obviously the reflection isn't 100% true. And let's just brush it in slightly, like around that reflection.
The colours are really good, but what I am going to do is I'm going to play with the temperature a little bit just to warm it up slightly. And it kind of gives it a little bit more of a golden hour type look, but now it's too yellowy, so I'm going to add a little bit more pink, but not too much. I'm going to make the blues a little bit more tealy. Bring the saturation up a bit, luminance down. You know what? Some of the detail is getting a little bit blown out, so I'm going to bring the highlights down a little bit just to... There we go. There we are, look.
Mask on the bottom. So with that one, always on the bottom, I always bring the exposure and the contrast down and the highlights, but then I bring the blacks up just to flatten it out a little bit more.
Grab a linear gradient. Let's pull that up. Bring down the exposure slightly, but I increase the contrast a fair bit. So before, after, super subtle. Grab a radial filter, a little bit of exposure and contrast again. Maybe increase the shadows, but then bring down the blacks just to keep the detail there.
Just to bring the focus into the center a little bit more, I'm going to add a vignette just to draw the eye in a little bit. I mean, I'm not used to editing wildlife stuff, so this is completely new to me, but I'm going to just drop some colour into the shadows and see where it looks best. Ooh, that's quite nice. A little bit of green in there looks nice, but it looks edited. I want it to look nice and natural. I'm going to put a little bit in. I usually also add some yellow to the highlights.
And then the usual glow in the corner, again, just to brighten it up, just to make a bit of a difference.
So it's only subtle.
Yeah, but makes a big difference.
Like that. The sun's coming in from this side, so I feel like we need a bit of a glow. So let's just grab a massive radial filter, a little bit of exposure. Guys, it's fun editing someone else's photos. Dehaze is always a good one, but it's very cliche, but it makes it like a little misty. If you go the other way, obviously it's adding haze, not taking it away. Normally I bring down the shadows so it doesn't affect it massively. Obviously warmed it up slightly. What else can we do?
Taking all the colour completely out of the beach stones as well.
Yeah, came into this part here.
Oh, the colour mixer.
So like, obviously with the oranges, bring the saturation and the luminance down so they're not as bright.
I've seen how long you spend editing photos.
Yeah.
You get very in-depth.
Yeah, I get very fussy, and especially in the fine details, like when you're getting rid of all the distractions.
Yeah.
That's a big thing for me.
What I also like to do, I'm very much a fan of the retro film type look, so when it comes to photos, I pretty much always add grain. It's just about the amount of grain you want to add. It just looks really nice. It looks like a vintage photo, but the problem is you end up losing some of the detail.
Let's go for the eye. The eye is such an important thing for me when it comes to birds. It hasn't really got much catch light, but let's just add a bit in. Let's just see what it looks like. Brush in just a fraction and just increase it. Yeah, there we go. Just gives the eye that little bit of definition.
One thing I did do is the grain, so I always add grain, but I don't like it when the grain's like really fine. I prefer it to be a bit rougher. Bigger specks of grain rather than itty bitty ones. Does that make sense? Is that the proper term?
We'll go with it.
So if I...
Yeah.
Oh, I quit it. Why did I quit it? Oh, bollocks. Like so.
Yeah.
So it just looks a bit nicer. So I think the overall look that I always go for with my photos is more of a sort of film look.
Yeah.
Everybody's got their own style. Everybody edits things in a different way, and I'm guessing the whole point of this video is showing how different people edit different photos. This isn't my style whatsoever. Here he is. That's Scott. I bet this is like Inception.
Literally, I could sit and edit photos all day long, all day, every day.
I mean, we could go crazy and add a gradient and make that bird pop a little bit, but I don't think there's any need. People can do all this stuff just to say they've done it. Look, do I need to do it? See, it looks unnatural then. I'm going to leave that. I'm going to delete that.
But you've made quite a drastic change to that original photo.
Without really doing very much at all. So I think, like the original, when did we go to Brighton? Was it in the summer?
I think that was beginning of the summer, last 2022.
You can tell that it's... Hello. I think with the original, you can tell that it's a warmer month, whereas with mine,
You've cooled it down a
looks
lot.
colder.
Yeah.
And I like that. I'm really funny about pictures in the summer because I find them really hard to edit.
Yeah, you get quite a harsh light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grey day kind of gal. Don't keep that in. Please don't
That's staying
keep that in.
in. That's staying in. It looks ace.
Thanks. I feel like I didn't know what to talk about. This is the first time I've done this and it's very different. Did that cover everything?
Yeah. Yeah, it's perfect. Thank you.
I feel like it didn't really...
No, that's all I needed.
What I've tried to do with this photo is just make the centre of attention the bird, and I feel like I've done that. We've cropped in a little bit, we've desaturated the blues for some reason, because I like to. I'm sorry, this is how I do it. I'll wrap it up now. I'm going to export this, and yeah, I hope you've learnt something. What not to do, probably.
That's the photo to begin with. Then I got rid of the distractions and made basic corrections. Tone curve. When it comes to colour, that's where it all comes in, like making sure it's controlled, making sure you're getting rid of all the things, making sure the colour science, like the colour magic, the colour theory is all coming together. Detail, literally a fraction of sharpening. Lens correction, always add the lens corrections. Masks, brings it to life. Honestly, masks, you could do so much with masks. Literally detailing. I'm happy with that. That's pretty good. I enjoyed that. It's weird editing someone else's photos though, but it's good fun. I like it. Hope that helped.
So there we go, 4 very different looking photographs from that same original raw file, which goes to prove the exact point that there is no right or wrong way to edit your photo and get a great result. There is endless possibilities. And that's the great thing about shooting photography in this day and age with digital cameras and getting raw files, because you can just do whatever you want with it. The possibilities are endless. And I just want to say a massive thank you to Holly, Danny and Sam for helping out with shooting this video and just being a massive help. So yeah, thank you to them. Make sure you go and check out their work. I will link it all down below because they're all amazing at what they do. But yeah, the whole point behind this video is just be creative with your photography. Do whatever you want with your photos. Don't let other people put you off from doing something, and don't necessarily copy what other people do in your work. Be creative and do what you want with it. You will find your own style, and you might want to not edit photos at all. Not everyone enjoys editing photos, but you might enjoy spending a couple of minutes editing a photo, or you might enjoy going really in depth and doing literally everything you can to a photo. It really doesn't matter, and there's things that people like doing that other people don't like doing. You might like a really contrasty look. You might like something that looks a bit more flat and soft. Do what you want with the photo. It doesn't matter. There's no right or wrong. Just be creative and have fun with it, because that's what it's all about. And that goes for anything creative, really, because that's the creative part of what we do. If you're editing a video, there's no right or wrong way to edit a video. Everyone is going to have different opinions on it, yes, but edit it the way you like it. Edit the photos the way you like them. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks, and just go and have fun with it. I think that's what I'm trying to say in this video, because that's something that I've not really shot as much photography this year as I would like for myself. So that's something that I'm trying to get back into at the moment, and just going out and shooting and editing photos the way that I want to see them edited, because that for me is where the creative fulfillment comes from. So yeah, go out, shoot some photos, have some fun, be creative. Doesn't matter what the end result is. You might hate it in a day's time, but then you can go back and re-edit it completely differently. Just have fun with it. Yeah, massive thank you again to Holly, Danny and Sam. Go and check out their work, and I shall see you in the next video.